What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna do another review today, a little bit differently than what we normally do. So I was back in the service department here at Timms Harley Davidson, and I saw them working on this bike, and I stopped and kind of asked what all they were gonna do to it. And after they gave me the rundown, I started thinking, that's usually what I see customers do to their bikes. Now, not all of them do it all in one shot like this particular customer did, but they usually end up at this same point. So like when I was in sales, if we would get a trade-in or something, a lot of the modifications we've done to this bike are what I would see that other people had done. Or if I sold a bike to someone and kind of followed up with them or stayed in touch with them as they would come in and out of the dealership, I'd ask, okay, so what are you doing today? What are you getting today? So, okay, I'm adding this to my bike, or I'm doing this, or I brought it in for service to get this stuff done. This particular bike pretty much covered every single one of those bases. So I thought I would get the build sheet for it, so we see exactly what these parts cost, we see exactly the labor that was charged, and then we end up with the total to complete this build. Now, before we get started, I want to thank Daryl, the customer who this bike belongs to. He's given me not only permission to review the bike, but also permission to ride the bike. So thank you for that, Daryl. This bike is absolutely amazing. I haven't gotten to ride it yet. We'll get to that in just a second, but I'm super excited, and you guys will find out why I'm excited when we start to do the walk around to this bike. All right, guys, just like we normally do, I'll give you a quick walk around before we start the actual review of the bike. So I've also thought about the best way to give you guys the pricing on this, and I think doing it as we go will kind of make the video cluttered. So we'll talk about the cost as far as parts and labor go, and then do the total towards the end of the video, but before the test ride, because I know some of you guys like watching the test ride, some of you don't. So I'll give you that information beforehand so you don't have to skip through all that. So that said, we'll go ahead and jump straight into this review. Now, this is a 2021 model Road Glide Special, as you can see in the two-tone red and black. I absolutely love this paint, and a few of the things that have been done to this bike really set it off. One thing I was kind of bummed about is we do have a chin spoiler ordered. It's just a little plastic piece that just kind of hides all that ugliness of the frame and all this. It is painted black. It just looks nice and clean. I've really grown to like those on the Road Glides. However, that piece was supposed to be here like 15 days ago and it's still not. So I didn't want to hold up this video for the sake of doing that. Now, just as a quick reminder, I've already reviewed the 2021 Road Glides, both of them, both the standard and the special model. You can find those videos. I'll put the links down in the description so it's a little bit easier. So this isn't a review of the Road Glide itself, more so of just what we've done to this bike. So typically we kind of start right up here in the front. So we're gonna start with these bars. These are a 12-inch bar, which a lot of you have probably heard me say before. With my height, right around 5'11"-ish, these fit me the best. This is what I've put on my personal bikes. This is what we do on most of our builds. Now, the style is really up to you as far as what you guys like. So I see on a lot of the touring bikes these upswept that come up into a point and drop down just a little bit. So your actual distance from here to here is a little longer than 12. But with the sweep down of these handlebars, it does end up being 12 inches. And then for those interested, these are the factory 47 bars. So these are in the 12-inch from factory 47. You'll also notice that we have, see if we can get the camera in there, we have upgraded these front speakers to Rockford Fosgate. I never really hated the ones that Harley put in, but I will say there is a significant difference. There's a huge improvement rather when you do upgrade to the Rockford. And Daryl has opted to do the speakers and the bag lids, which I think is a really, really nice touch. So obviously I've never been the passenger. I've never had trouble hearing the music. I've never heard from a passenger whether or not, you know, it's a struggle for them to hear it, but doing the matching speakers and the bag lids ensures that that's not going to be an issue. Now, one thing we have ordered that I don't know if was part of the original build, but Bill, the tech that's doing all the work on this bike, has said that he's going to do the saddlebag liners, and that's just to kind of keep this clean. So obviously you can see he's done an amazing job at keeping the wiring as clean as you possibly could, but putting those saddlebag liners in there will hide that, will also keep things from snagging on it. So moving on around to the front of this bike, this was hilarious to me just because I think I dinged every single Harley Davidson model except the CVO, because when you spend $40,000, apparently that's when it warrants LED turn signals. That's one of the things that's been upgraded on this bike. Obviously we did the rear as well. But a big thing, and something that I've also knocked Harley for, was that we've done this chrome front end. Now, if you step back and look at this bike overall, it just fits. You know, it doesn't look like that's added, and in my personal opinion, it shouldn't have to be added. And I'll tell you why. So for those of you that don't know, this is a black Road Glide Special. So same bike, just a different color. These are the lower forks that it comes with. It's just that machined look, and it does have a clear coating on it to protect it, but the rest of the bike is chrome. And when you step back and look, it looks bad to me. I mean, honestly, and I know that the reflector's on this one and not on the chrome front end, but that aside. But the biggest thing for me was that if you order the Road Glide Special in black, they give you a black front end. But if you order the chrome version, you don't get the chrome front end, which I don't understand. You know, it just, to me, I think it would serve Harley well to do it, just because that is a pretty significant upgrade as far as price, and then, you know, having the labor and all that stuff. I think it would serve Harley to do it from the factory, because a lot of people aren't going to spend that kind of cash or take that kind of time to do it. It makes this bike look so much better. So think when these bikes are out on the road, it's just that much more eye-catching. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Let me know down in the comments if you guys agree with that. Should Harley include that from the factory? So one of the things that you can't see, but one of my favorite modifications to the bike, and what I meant earlier when I said I was excited to ride it, is they've done the Screaming Eagle Stage 2 447 cam in this bike, which I think is a really good choice based on, you know, talking to the techs about different stuff that they prefer as far as cam sizes and what to go with. I think that was a solid option. Obviously, when I do the test ride, I'll give you guys some feedback. Another thing you can't see in the performance area is there is a Bassani head pipe on here, but one of the things that I liked is it fits under the factory heat shields, which Harley does do chrome, which looks really nice. So I like that Bassani did that. And then there's the Cobra. I think these are the Neighbor Haters was the name of the model for this exhaust, which I like on the back of this bike. A little bit bigger diameter. Looks pretty good. I like that cone kind of inside of the exhaust. It's a good look. Good sound too. I'll try to let you guys hear this bike, but that's just tricky with audio to not make it, sound like it actually sounds. Either it's too quiet so it doesn't blow the microphone away, or it just pops on the microphone. So we'll try to get that. But that's what's been done to the performance of this bike. Now, obviously, anytime you change the head pipe on your bike and then you change the cam, you need to put a tuner. So this one does have the Screaming Eagle Street Tuner on it as well. And also, although it's a little bit more of a minor thing, the docking hardware has been put on the back. So if you want to put a luggage rack, a backrest, a tour pack, anything you want to mount on the back, just makes it a little easier. And I know it's a minor thing, but that is one of the more common things that we see done. So I thought I would mention that. Now, I know some people will probably comment on the seat. I do believe he has plans to change the seat, but I think the customer and the technician that did the work are pretty close friends. And the seat is pretty subjective, man, as far as looks and feel. So I think he's gonna leave that up to the customer. The customer actually doesn't live here. He's on the other side of the country in California, from what I've been told. So a few things will change on this bike once he gets it. We've just done all of the major components. So I'll give you guys one more quick walk around and show you this thing. I think it looks killer, man. I wish that chin spoiler was on there, because that would really set this thing off. To me, the chin spoiler and a different seat, and then for me personally, I do prefer the low profile backrest even when there is no passenger. I just think it really makes the dimensions on the Street Glide and Road Glide look good. But even without it, man, this bike looks amazing. And now we will jump into the build sheet and kind of talk about what went into this bike price-wise.
Okay, so I decided the most thorough way to do this is literally just upload the work order for this bike build that we did. The only thing that I've redacted is the customer's personal information. Everything else is on here. So you're going to notice there are a ton of line items for like spacers, gaskets, little bitty things like that. Some of them are kind of significant in price. Some of them are only $1 or $2. So I don't plan to go over all that. However, obviously you can pause the video and kind of look at the breakdown of everything if you're interested in doing that. I just think that would kind of clutter things up if we try to do it that way. So we will jump right in at the cam kit that was done on this bike. So you'll see that the labor on that was $545, and the cam itself was $359.96, plus a few extra bucks for the miscellaneous stuff like we talked about. So the total for that cam was $931. So to buy that cam, put it in that bike, $931. Also, I should point out that there is small discounts applied to this. And the reason for that is this customer bought the bike at Timms and then had all of this work done at Timms. So that's pretty par of the course. I would check with your local dealership. Hopefully Timms is your local dealership, or even if it's not, I think I said that this customer was in California, but looking at the work order, I say they're in Las Vegas, which is pretty awesome. Shout out to Daryl for coming all the way to South Carolina to make this happen with us. But nonetheless, so that's the discount if you pause the video and you start doing a breakdown and looking at numbers or talking to your dealership and the numbers are a little different, which they could be anyway, but just to address that. So for that full exhaust, your mufflers were $382.46. That head pipe we talked about was $382.46. Labor on that was $190.75. So you're at a total of $963.28 to do that full exhaust. So that's the install and the parts. The tuner, pretty straightforward. So that's $239.96, $54.50 for the labor. So you're a little under $300 for that, $294.46. The chrome front end, which I said Harley should do from the factory, is $471. So not a ton of money, but then the labor to do that, because it is so labor intensive, was $436. So think about this, Harley. That's $436 that you're not having to charge the customer. You're already doing that work to the bike. So that would be a significant savings for the customer to not have to do that. For the handlebars, we'll go to the next page just because there's so much. Like when you extend the bars past a certain size, you have to extend the lines. They did upgraded lines, which I realize now that I didn't show in the video, but you need all kind of little connectors, fasteners, whatnot. But your bars themselves were $424.15. The labor, because it's so labor intensive on the Road Glide to swap out the bars, ended up being $763. So a total to put those bars on this bike was $1,746.93. So pretty hefty, but I've been back in the shop plenty of times while they were installing bars on the Street Glides, Road Glides. Obviously your Road Kings, your your more stripped down bikes, not nearly as big of a deal. But when you've got all those connectors, you have the internal wires inside the bars, absolute nightmare to do. So I strongly recommend, if you're not like a tech level mechanic, so like me, I've got basic mechanic skills, definitely not a Harley technician. I know that's a lot of cash for a lot of people. To me, I genuinely feel like it's worth it. Real quick, we'll just talk about the chin spoiler. It wasn't on the bike, unfortunately. Like I said, I like the look, but it wasn't on there. So that's $344.79 for that. The labor is $163.50 for a total of $521.28. The Rockford system is $1,279.99, and the labor on that's only $545, which I feel like is pretty cheap because as you know, the saddlebag lids don't come cut out for the speakers, so the technicians have to cut those out themselves, which, I mean, isn't a crazy amount of work, but setting up the template, making sure you get everything right so that you don't screw these up, because I can't remember the price on a bag lid that's painted to match, but it's not freaking cheap. So it is pretty stressful. And I'm also wondering if, since they had, kind of the front apart a little more to do the bars, if that helped being in there. Unfortunately, I didn't have that thought in my head, or I would have asked about that. So on this last page, you'll see what I think everyone was waiting for is the total for this. So parts total was $4,516.22. Labor total was $2,697.75, which puts you at a total of $7,552.59. So Daryl stepped up, put a good bit of cash in his bike. But like I said, this is what we typically see the majority of customers do. So some people just do it right out the gate. They want to have their bike set up, ride it how they want it, right out the box, whereas other guys prefer, to do a little as they go, and that's all personal preference. It's all, depending on your finances and how much that would, kind of put you out there. So do whatever's right for you. But if it's a possibility, I would recommend doing it the way Daryl did it. That way, when you get on your bike, it's done. Now, as a Harley guy, and most of you are probably Harley people if you're watching this video, we all know that's not true. It's never truly done. Like I just said, he was going to probably do a seat, and I'm sure he'll change a few other little personal things along the way. But getting all the big ticket items just so you can enjoy the bike right out of the gate is a pretty solid choice. All right, guys, I realize at this point that this video is getting super long. So if you're still sticking around, I appreciate it. Or even if you just skipped ahead to the test ride, I appreciate it. I think we finally got the GoPro thing worked out as far as position. So this is a chin mount on my helmet. I wish I could remember the name, but I custom ordered a GoPro mount that fits directly on the chin of this helmet, so it's a perfect fit. I'm never going to run it on the top, so if this isn't high enough for you guys, I'm sorry. This is the best it's gonna get. I like it, man. Like I didn't hate the chest mount. I get on the touring bikes, yeah. It did give you that feeling of riding, the sensation of riding, but nonetheless. Anyway, enough about that. So I've let this bike warm up a good bit. Again, as you guys know at this point, this is a customer's bike. This is not Tim's bike. This is not my bike. We're not going to rip this thing super hard. We will get on it because it does have the cam work and the full exhaust and stuff, but we're not going to redline it or anything. And I'm sure, Daryl, if you're watching, you'll appreciate that. I will say right off the bat, getting on this bike and taking off the bars, absolutely perfect feel for me. The height, typically I like my bars a little more narrow, so To be completely honest, with these bars, I was concerned that I wasn't going to like the distance, but it feels great. I actually really like this. One thing that's unfortunate, the speakers. So obviously the GoPro audio is not going to give you any kind of good feedback as far as what these speakers actually sound like. But then also any music I play is going to get a copyright strike on my video if I even tried to let you hear it. So I will test it at a part of the video where I'm not, it won't make it on the video, we'll say that. So I'll check it out. You won't get to check it out, but I would encourage you to go down to your local dealership and see if they've got a bike with these speakers on there, because we've done this on several bikes. We did this on my buddy Cody, who's the GM of Timms. Oh, dude. The cam for this bike is nice. It's very noticeable power gains on this. And of course, a truck. Actually, we'll pause it here and just let you guys, we'll start it back when this guy is gone. Anyway, as I was saying, Cody Watson, the general manager of Timms Harley Davidson, we did this exact setup on his dad's personal Road Glide special, so that should tell you something. Sorry for the interruption in the video, I just had to let that truck go. Yeah, I'm really appreciating these bars in the curves. I mean, again, we're not flying, but that's one of the things I've disliked about the Road Glide that I've never noticed on the Street Glide, was that the bars just felt, the factory bars from Harley feel like they're in my freaking lap, like they fell off or broke off and I'm having to ride home with the handlebars in my lap. And I've always hated that. Again, the Street Glide didn't bother me, just the Road Glide, it was noticeable to me. And apparently because of my Street Glide versus Road Glide video, people feel like I'm anti-Road Glide. I'm not at all. I love these things. They're great. I mean, like I said in that video, it's personal preference for me. I mean, I'm a little indifferent. One of the things that I don't care for as much is with the fairing kind of coming down, which you can't see in this video, is you lose a tiny bit of visibility down by the road. But I mean, you get used to that. I mean, you ride this bike for an hour and you forget about it. We'll kind of try to roll on it like a first gear roll on here, just to hopefully kind of give you an idea. Yeah, probably not translating on the video, but the bike is nice, man. Very quick, tons of power, and from what I'm seeing right now, it's not like it's kind of a good power band, meaning some cams give you a ton of low end, some of them give you more on the top end, some of them are more mid-range. I don't know exactly if this cam was designed to be this well balanced throughout the power band, but it really feels like it when you're riding it. I mean, you see we kind of got it up to speed there. Actually, you know what? We're coming up on the highway here. We could go down one exit and come in a different way. Let's do that. We'll do that. We'll take it on the highway. We'll really quickly. Like I said, it's just one. Make sure this guy isn't gonna run over me. It is just 2 miles down, but still, we'll see. That's what all these Road Glide guys love is, oh, it's on the highway, and look what's right in front of us. Let me close my visor here. we got a truck, because that's what everyone says. Oh, the truck, the wind doesn't move you around. I mean, if it's windy enough, I mean, dude, I drive a massive truck and wind moves it around. Street glide, road glide, sport glide, street bob, I don't care. If it's windy enough, it's going to move you around. Wind from the truck's going to move you around. I don't know if you guys can see in the video, but we are kind of getting some movement, but it's not an issue. If you know how to ride a motorcycle, this wind behind this truck should not cause you any problems. We're not going to go into that because that video still to this day, street glide versus road glide, gets a million comments of people arguing back and forth. Yeah, I kind of wish this was a Timms build, only so I could have taken it on the highway just a little bit more, give you guys a little bit more of a feel. But I mean, it's a road glide. I mean, I don't want to say that the hype isn't real, because it is. It handles the wind great, but to me, any Harley Davidson touring bike, Road King, Street Glide, any of those, to me, they feel great. So, not surprised there. Overall, I mean, I think this was a killer build. Again, changing the seat, and I think this thing is pretty much done. If that's a thing, you know. And again, I really do want to thank Daryl, if you happen to see this, for letting me do this. You've got a beautiful bike, man. I think Bill did a killer job putting this thing together, and I think you're going to be super happy with it. I really appreciate the opportunity to ride this. I know we don't know one another, so that's a pretty bold move for you. Much appreciated. The good news is you're getting to see everything that happened on it, so you know she wasn't hurt too bad. All right, guys, we're getting back to the dealership, so we'll wrap up this video. I feel like we're probably around the 30-minute mark almost, so kind of feeling like Matt Laidlaw here with these super long videos, which I don't hate. Dude, I watch his stuff. Like, I like his content as well. It's just long. And in my mind, people don't want to consume stuff that long, but then again, I consume it. So let me know if you're still watching down in the comments if you like these longer videos. I mean, clearly we can ride some bikes and stretch these things out if you enjoy it. I mean, I know it's not action-packed. We're not wheeling or getting wild, but I don't mind doing that, clearly. It's my homie there. As usual, you know, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know about the modifications to this bike. Like them, hate them, what you would have done differently. Please consider subscribing if you haven't. Also, we're doing a giveaway, so check that out. That was the video right before this one. Check that out. You don't want to miss that. Thanks for watching, guys. Much appreciated.